people. We've actually been targeted. Jim has been followed around. He's taken pictures and posted them. My office got broken into. They went right through the regional supervisor and my manager's office and came straight to my office and destroyed my office and pulled my computer apart. Yeah. Wow. And I was the only one that was touched. So.
Of the Sharpening Report. I'm your host, Sam Johnston. We're on YouTube, iTunes, Blog Talk, and you can find me at Twitter at Sam T. Johnston. Well, there's been quite a crackdown on the First Amendment lately, and we are joined by a couple that has faced it firsthand, whether it be on the streets or in the virtual reality world that we like to call YouTube and Google. There's been quite a crackdown, and we are joined by Jim and Angie of Victurus Libertas, or
VLTV.
I got the hard part right, and I messed up the acronym. Anyway, thank you guys for coming on the show. How are you doing today?
Oh, we're doing great,
We're great. Thanks so much for having us on. You pronounce Victurus Libertas amazingly.
Yeah,
thank you.
Probably the best we've heard so far.
I'm part Latin, so
excellent.
Anyway, before we get too much into what happened to you guys, can you give me a little bit of background on who you are, where you come from, and just how did you get into the world of podcasting?
Okay, yeah, we're Victurus Libertas, Jim and Angie. We started in 2016. How did we start, babe? No, because I started a website called Victurus Libertas, and it wasn't anything. Then I wanted to start doing some videos, and Angie actually did an article on the yuan and the U.S. dollar and trade wars, stuff like that, and it got a lot of traction. And I said, "Ooh, okay." So that's how we got started then.
Yeah, the way it actually happened.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He did set up the website, and he was just like telling me along the way, and I'm like, okay, all right, do your little website, okay, you know. And he did, and he put some articles up on the website that were of interest to both of us, because we've always both been interested in the truth and kind of a little bit conspiracy minded, like, well, people call it conspiracy, we call it awakened, and so then he kind of forgot about the website, and we went away for 3 or 4 or 5 months. And a few months later, I was getting some emails trickling in, and they were asking about the website. And I was like, oh, my God, that website you started, what are the passwords? And he's like, I don't know. And I'm like, well, people are making comments, and they're asking about it. We've got to get back in there. So we figured out the passwords. We got in there. We realized what people were interested in. And then he decided to get a video camera and just start doing videos relating to the articles. And it really took off.
Is that how it started? I never heard that story before.
Whatever.
No, she's right. That's how it started. And we started doing videos, and one thing led to another.
It was a good time because it was right before the election.
Oh, it was an amazing time because that's when everybody was going after Hillary Clinton. So you had your there wasn't really a lot of pro-Trumpers yet. It was the anti-Clinton class. Yeah. We were anti-Clinton supporters.
And definitely.
Right?
You know, it's funny that Hillary Clinton inspired so many people to come out against her. So
yeah. Really
everybody loves to hate her. Oh, yeah. My goodness.
It is amazing. So that was an unbelievable year, 2016, because that's when WikiLeaks came out with the Podesta emails. Yes. So we started reporting on the Podesta emails and Pizzagate and Comet Ping Pong, and the elections came up. Then there was FBI Anon started leaking things in the Clinton campaign. So it was just an amazing year, and it was good to be a podcaster.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and on this channel we haven't really talked about QAnon very much, just because I guess I don't really know where I stand on it. So is that something you guys have a lot of experience in looking into?
Are you asking specifically about QAnon? Or are you asking about like the different various leaks?
I guess we'll start with Q, and then we can go on from there.
Yeah, so QAnon, as far as I know, and I do know, is a spin-off from FBI Anon, all right? So I was getting information from a certain individual about FBI Anon, so I would get that information.
A few. We had some white hats contact us that were spot on. Like they would feed us information 24 hours before it happened. So we were able to break a lot of stories before they happened. And I think that really helped us to catch on because
that did.
It really helped us, with the information to make sure that it was true.
Right. So what we were told that FBI Anon just had one goal, and that goal was for Donald Trump to become president or Hillary Clinton not to become president. And once that happened, that information stopped. Okay,
it kind of faded out.
Yeah, and we were told that was going to happen. So there was a gap, and this is where QAnon came in. And QAnon was white hats in the beginning, and it might still be. But here's what I'm going to say about QAnon. Whoever started in November of 2017 is not QAnon now. It's a whole different group of people. All right, they might be accurate, they might be white hats. I said I wasn't sure about them because there was a lot of QAnon followers. So I'm going to retract some of the things I said in my previous interview and say I don't know. The only thing I do know is that it's not the same group of people that started at the end of 2017.
So we agree with you. We're on the same page as you, as we're not really sure where we stand. We were very, very sure and very secure with FBI Anon, and we knew that person, and we knew that information was good. At the beginning, I feel like QAnon's information was really good, and then I kind of feel like it's not so accurate anymore.
Yeah, it's something that I've always struggled with, is because you just don't know who those people are, and they're basically asking you just to trust them blindly, and that is such a perfect opportunity to be deceived. So I've always been really cautious on things like that. A lot of people just absolutely love it, and they kind of they like just everything he says is almost scripture. It's going to happen for sure, and I'm just like, it's too easy for Satan to seep in there.
Right, I agree, and don't forget, we've been hearing that the Clintons and other people are going to go to jail for 2 years.
Yeah, it's been a long time that prophecy's coming down the tubes.
So I just wait, I just say, well, when it happens, I'll believe it, but I really am skeptical whether I ever see the Clintons in handcuffs.
Yeah. Me too. So let's kind of go back to when all of a sudden you're doing all this great work, and then all of a sudden it just ends, and we kind of get the crackdown of your freedom of speech. What happened?
Well, it looks like, so there was it was the right-wing purge, I guess, where a lot of people got knocked off of YouTube. But what happened with us is we were reporting on certain things, I guess, that we're not supposed to be talking about on YouTube, and Zionist Israel is one of them. And
a big one.
But what was the story that we actually?
So what was going on was the latest school shooting. Right. And they were taking down everybody that was talking about the school shooting. Well, we had reported on the Pulse nightclub shooting,
2 years ago,
which was 2 years ago, which was in the same location, but it had, it had the state and it had shooting in the titles. We had 3 videos, and they'd been up for 2 years, and we never had a strike or a complaint against them at all. Jim had just found out one of the guys who supposedly got shot.
Omar Mateen, I believe, was the shooter, and a bunch of the people that were interviewed at the Pulse shoot that were witnesses were all actors and crisis actors.
And he looked them up and put them side by side, and that was apparently we were bullying when we pointed out those facts.
I just pointed out facts, all right, in those videos from 2 years ago, okay? And so they picked on me, and they gave me 3 strikes within 24 hours. They didn't give me a chance to respond, and they terminated the account. They didn't suspend my account. They terminated They deleted 1,100 videos and 70,000 subscribers all in 24 hours.
And I can give you a little bit of back
of why we really
door
feel like
of
that.
what really happened there, if you would like.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, as someone who's asking questions, I don't want to know about it.
Right. So we have different correspondents all over the world who write to us from wherever they are, so that we get worldwide news, and it's kind of straight from the horse's mouth, you know. And so we have an Israeli correspondent, and her name is Marianne Azizi, and she's amazing. She travels all over the world, and she gives us live scoops like all over the place. She's awesome, and she goes to Israel a lot. She is a very big advocate for the Israel, you know, the people there, and they're very suppressed. And I mean, like much of people in the United States, right. You know, we're suppressed all over the world. But anyway, she would go over there and she would give us live interviews and stuff like that. Well, she was bringing to light a young girl who was over there. It was an American girl who had gotten trapped in Israel. They put a no exit order on her father and took her away from her dad and put her into a Lynn Schusterman institution. Now, Lynn Schusterman is one of the Rothschilds. And so she has institutions all over the world. This little girl was put over there, and it started to come out. The little girl ran away multiple times, and on one of the times that she ran away, they got an interview with this little girl, and it came to light that she was being extremely physically, mentally, and sexually abused in the institution. And we reported on it, and we blurred her face, but we put portions of her actual interview up.
Yeah.
And that got us.
That's when we got the 3
really
strikes.
hated. Well, they arrested Marianne. They arrested the lawyer who interviewed the little girl. They held them for a while. They threatened them. They said that they knew that they were working. The prosecutor of Israel told Marianne she knew that she was working with American journalists, and they were not able to get to the American journalists right now because they were out of their reach, but they were working on that. That would quickly be resolved, that would be handled. And within about a week to 2 weeks. It was
even less. It was like 3 or 4 days.
It was within days that we got our 3 strikes and we were taken down.
Wow.
Yeah.
I really do feel like that had a lot to do with it. They wanted all of the tapes that Marianne had, and when they took the CDs, they said, "Is this all of them?" And she goes, "Except what's on the internet." And so they had to get rid of those too.
Yeah. There's been a huge movement. I see people starting to start to question our support of Israel. Especially when I was, much younger. I'm not very old now, but much younger, it was always everything you have to support Israel no matter what happens, always support them. And now there's kind of people being like, well, Israel fell like 1,000,000 times in the Old Testament. It's possible that they're going to do it again. Should we really trust everything that they're doing? And so is that kind of what that idea backed up that you guys were trying to get out?
Well,
I think we're just trying to get out. First of all, we're trying to get out that what is it? Every congressperson has to sign a pledge to Israel.
To support
that we give $40,000 for every man, woman, and child in Israel.
However,
it doesn't go to them.
Those men, women, and children don't receive that money. It goes to the government of Israel, and we've done an interview with people over there, and I've shown documentation of this, but the Rothschilds actually own Israel. Like, that is they own it. They are the government. So any money that goes to the government goes straight into their pockets. And, I mean, when you look up, like, online in Israel, and they had to send it to us because our Google pulls up something different. But they sent me, like the website, and it's the family of the Rothschilds, and we own this, and it's them smiling and get to know us better and stuff like that. It's really creepy.
And also I feel that all the conflicts in the Middle East that we get involved with are usually on our beck and call of Israel asking us to do that. And I don't want to fight Okay, I don't want war. I don't like war. I don't like fighting. I don't think that our soldiers should be in the Middle East fighting wars that have been going on for thousands of years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so these wars are never going to be fought, and you know, these wars in the Middle East, and they take an unlimited amount of money to fund, right?
And not only in Israel, but a point, I think our main point is the governments of basically every country of the world no longer represents the people.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you talk about a country, are you talking about the people or the government? Because they're definitely two different things. And in most country of the world, again, the people are strongly fighting against their government, just like we are here.
Yeah.
Everybody's so suppressed. So we're just for people. We're for the people.
Yeah. Well, so I guess to kind of go a little bit deeper into that, there obviously the foundation of Israel was pretty amazing, whether you think it's good or bad. And a lot of people say it lines up with biblical prophecy. Would you guys disagree with that?
That what lines up with
the foundation of Israel?
Because the foundation of it. Well, all I know is this: is that for biblically, all right, the third temple needs to be rebuilt, right, before the return of Jesus Christ. And who's going to build that third temple?
Well, according to one of our friends, he says that it's already built, and he thinks he's seen it underground.
Interesting.
Well, I haven't seen it. But
right.
So I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know what's going on. I do know that I don't trust Zionist Jews. I don't trust that whole movement. Either do the conservative Jews. The Judaism and Zionism are two different things, and people, if they do some research, they'll find that out. And the Judaism Jews don't want anything to do with the Zionist Jews, because the Zionist Jews made it more of a government type thing, a political thing. Israel was never supposed to be political.
Right. Exactly.
Or part of the government.
Right.
So the question is, did Christ ever sanction, if you want to get biblically, did he ever sanction for a state of Israel?
A state of Israel or the people of Israel?
A state of Israel.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just a question.
Yeah. And I kind of asked that question because it's an important thing to cover, and I kind of have done my own research on that, looking into the actual Schofield Bible and how it leads you to believe things that maybe aren't necessarily in prophecy, like the refoundation of Israel really is more pointing to the city of Jerusalem more than the actual state of Israel, which is just an interesting kind of redirection. And it would be very easy to interpret the foundation of Israel as the Rothschilds trying to convince people that this is God's hand and God to deceive them.
Absolutely.
I agree with that.
It's all about deceiving. Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
for sure.
Me too.
Yeah, so kind of going back to the crackdown, because in Israel they're cracking down quite a bit on the word getting out, and over here as well. So what can we do to kind of change this trend with such powerful corporations like Google, YouTube, kind of controlling the internet in a lot of senses? What are you guys trying to do to change that?
I think, I think this has to be done, but we have to find a lawyer, that's gutsy enough to do it, is that those monopolies must be broken up. There was a time, I remember as a child, that monopolies were not allowed to happen. I remember Southwestern Bell being broken up because it was considered a monopoly. All we have are monopolies now. I mean, Walmart, Google, everything is a giant company that's gobbling up all the little small ones. That's called a monopoly.
Well, it's also called communism too.
Yeah.
We're getting to a communism where there's one. I've been predicting one place to watch videos, one place to search, one place to shop.
Yeah.
If you think about it, if you put Google, Facebook, right? Google knows what you're thinking and what you're searching for, and Facebook knows your friends and what you're doing all the time and where you are. Amazon knows what you shop for. There's 3 or 4 different places that we interact, as people that have so much data on us right now. It's unbelievable. And they're using that. I believe that they're using that to control us.
I do know that there are some cases working in the background to sue Google and YouTube, and we have been approached and asked to join. So I do foresee that there are going to be some lawsuits. I hope. I mean, they're so giant at this time. So what if they get, even a couple of $1 billion? I don't even know if that can take them down.
So to answer your question, the important thing to do is to continue to try to decentralize. All right. We're on like multiple platforms, video platforms, and people need to start migrating to those other platforms.
Yeah.
I'm not advocating to go from one YouTube to another YouTube. I think that it's got to be broken down. I say go to your mom and pop shops too. Don't just do all your shopping at Amazon. Go to your mom and pop shops. Otherwise, they're going to go out of business. And I used to say that about Walmart too. Go somewhere else besides Walmart all the time. But that might start happening a little more now with the tariffs going on in China, because it's going to make their goods more expensive and make our stuff look better again, American-made stuff. Maybe we're going to start making things in this country again. That would be wonderful.
That would be awesome.
But it's going to be painful.
We've gotten lazy. We're a lazy country now.
But that's going to be a little painful because everybody is used to, paying such low prices because China is, willing to, they're getting paid
child labor.
I don't know, $1 an hour to do this stuff and work 18 hours a day. But hopefully with Trump's tariffs, that's going to end. Mm-hmm. But there's going to be pain because people are going to be used to, paying $5 on something that's maybe going to cost $7.50 now.
Yeah. I had never thought about that. It seems obvious, I guess. I just didn't ever think about the drive to push people back to American-made products, and to start lifting up those local area shops, which is really where the change is going to come from. It's going to the change is going to come from your local area and changing and supporting the small local governments instead of the big corporations like you talked about. So yeah, that's. I don't know. That could be a really good thing. The tariffs could be great, even though it's going to cost a little bit more.
Right.
And you're so right. If you start small, I mean, that's what everything starts with, right? You look inside yourself, you look inside your home, you look inside your small town, and, you get do things at the local level, and it grows from there. So we've always supported, the mom and pop stuff and, tried to help at the lower levels, even if it does cost a little more. It doesn't matter to me.
Right. We've been saying, in order to make America great again, you have to do it at the local level. Start at the county level, and build your way up. I don't like a big federal government, by the way. I think that the smaller the federal government should be shuffling off things to the state and local, county government.
Which Trump has been really good about.
And he has been. I really liked what he campaigned on. And he's doing it.
Yeah.
And the liberals are like really going crazy right now because he's actually doing what he said he was going to do. And they didn't want that in the first place.
The latest thing that is cracking me up that I don't think people get is they're all over Trump about enforcing the law, and he's ripping the children from the illegal immigrants and blah, 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 and all of that kind of stuff, and the way that it's all blown out of proportion. And so I don't know if you saw this or not, but today I saw on social media how the past three first ladies, so it's Hillary and Michelle and whoever Bush was, have all gotten together and they're heavily campaigning against Trump for enforcing this. Oh my God, I just died out laughing. Bill is the one who put that into law. Right. Number one, he's the one who made the law for that to happen. And Hillary, number two, is in tandem with that. She's the one who put into law the Title IV Act of the Social Security Act, which the federal government then pays CPS to take children out of good homes, put them in foster care, and put them on medication. They pay thousands of dollars to do that. So she's ripping families apart too. It's just, hypocrites.
Right. And they keep on calling it Trump policy. This isn't a Trump policy. Obama did it and Bush did the same thing. Yeah. You know, it's called adhering to the law.
That's crazy.
That's all.
And there was.
Yeah, go on. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, and there was even a court case, a Ninth Circuit court case, that said it was more harmful to keep the kids together, actually, and just because putting them all into jail was actually cruel punishment to the kids, and that happened back in 2016, I think. So now you're seeing this kind of come full circle. So, what's the idea there? What ideas are they trying to push with really hammering this Trump separating kids? Like, is it a misdirection from something else that's going on, or is there an idea that they're trying to push here?
I think they're just trying to open the border. You know, they want to open the border. Typically, the people that come over from the South, if they become citizens, they vote Democrat. So I think that they're trying to increase their voter base for one.
That has something to do with it. My opinion is even a little different from his. It's just that all of the mainstream media has always turned everything that Trump does and just slammed him for everything. So it doesn't matter what he does. They're going to slam him about it.
But I definitely think that they're trying to open up the borders.
Yeah.
For the life of me, I don't know why they want an influx of illegal immigrants in here. The only thing I could think of is it increases the budget for social programs. It makes it necessary to have a bigger government, right? More taxes more tax money that goes into the federal government, into the state government that can be unaccounted for. Right.
A lot of the illegal children can be unaccounted for, too.
Well, that's true, too. So there's even some people even think that there's even a bigger nefarious reason for allowing this to happen, because these undocumented people, undocumented people don't go missing, right? Because they're undocumented, and you don't know when they're missing. And there are a lot of children.
Thousands.
That go missing every year that are unaccounted for, which leads us to, child trafficking is another thing.
Huge business.
Yeah. There was a Washington Post article written that under Obama, a lot of the kids coming in that were stored in those cages ended up being sold into the sex trafficking ring, which is Washington Post posted that, like 2016. That's crazy.
Yeah,
that is crazy.
It is insane, and then
for them to pick it up. I mean, because they're trying to cover everything up just like all the other mainstream media. So wow.
Yeah.
And so we interview people that have gone through that and satanic ritual abuse. All of this could be part of it. So. You ask the question, sure. What's the answer? A, B, C, D, or E, all the above? And I say all the above.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and you guys have done a lot of work on things like Pizzagate and the pedophilia issue that we have in the higher ups in our government.
Yeah.
And so let's talk about that a little bit, because I've heard a lot of people say Pizzagate is fake, and which doesn't really mean that that's true, because a lot of people say a lot of stupid things, but you guys come at it as it is true. So can you kind of back that up a little bit? I know it's a big topic, so just kind of just to kind of silence some of the people who deny it so much.
Sure. I would say, first off, I am not a big person about labels. And Pizzagate is a label that I try to stay away from because there are people that give it, they take that label and they say, oh, well, it means this. And other people go, oh, Pizzagate means that. And so if you're not explicitly very clear about what you mean when you say that word, people are going to have their own thoughts in their head and process it however they choose. So communication is very important in a subject such as this. And Pizzagate, when they say it has been debunked, what those people are talking about is, it's one pizza parlor, it's Comet Ping Pong, and James Alefantis, and he's got tunnels underneath the pizza place, and he's selling children and raping children and killing children under the pizza place, and, Hillary Clinton was in on it. We didn't subscribe to that. We never thought that. We did research Comet Ping Pong. We do think that James Alefantis is a pedophile. We do think that some odd things go on inside that pizza parlor. I mean, obviously the bands that go in there, the artwork that was in there. I mean, there's tons of stuff that he even put up on his own Twitter and Facebook pages and stuff like that. Many, many, many questions there. Since that's kind of been broadened to be called pedogate, and that's more the word that we generally lean toward, right?
Yeah, I go with pedogate now because that's all encompassing. The Pizzagate was specifically for the WikiLeaks emails that came out from John Podesta and all the weird things that, you know, they had a fixation about pizza and cheese, and all of these things were established by the FBI to be actual pedo language, all right, pedo symbols.
Years before, you know, this ever came out.
In 2008, on their website, and you could still probably go there, just do FBI 2008 pedo symbols. These are the things that we were finding in the Podesta emails. These are the things that we were finding on James Alefantis's, the bands that he was having play over there. By the way, the bands that he had playing at his place, it always said children are welcome, and it was very, very inappropriate for children. I mean, very inappropriate. And you could do research on all of that stuff. But what is so hard to believe that Pizzagate is true and real? Is it because people in Washington would never do such a thing? Please look up the Franklin scandal in the 80s, and you will find out that this has been going on for quite some time.
We have personal contacts that were sold to various presidents, not just one.
You know, many people came out in the 80s about very high up people even going into the White House. You know, male young prostitutes that were going into the White House doing midnight visits, all right? This is substantiated. This is not conspiracy. This was being reported by the Washington Post in the 80s when they were actually doing real reporting. So it does happen. And part of the problem is that people they have their head in the sand and they say that this stuff doesn't happen. And so when somebody comes out, and they're not believed, they say, why would I come out with this information? Because nobody's going to believe me anyway.
So I would like to add, for pedogate, to me, pedogate is worldwide, and it is proven every single day with information that comes out. There are senators that have been tried as raping children. There are judges that have gone to prison. There are lots of politicians. There are, you know, just very high up people, and they're getting the low fruit with that, right? So these people, every day you can look, we see it in the news, you know, literally every day. That is pedogate for me. That is what pedogate is. It is worldwide. It is not restricted to the United States. It is not restricted to Democrats. It's not restricted to gays. It's not restricted to anything. It spans everything all over the world. So it's huge.
Yeah, the closest that anybody came to reporting mainstream media on Pizzagate was a gentleman named Ben Swan of CBS 46. He did a 5-minute or 10-minute story about Pizzagate. It was a really good Pizzagate 101 primer. Yeah. And I think you can still find it on YouTube. So Ben Swan Pizzagate, look it up. And it tells you, you know, all of the weird things about the Podesta emails. And, you know, he had a lot of good questions in there. So that's a good primer. Well, that got shut down.
It was up less than 24 hours on the mainstream media
Ben
channel.
Swan went black for about 3 weeks. You couldn't find him anywhere. They shut him down. So he really struck a nerve with somebody. And shortly after that is when Alefantis was interviewed by, what's her name again?
I don't know. Megyn Kelly.
Megyn Kelly on Fox. And that was such a syrupy interview. It was so funny. And then shortly after that, I guess she got so much flack by the viewers on Fox that she went to another.
She got traded.
she got traded to somebody.
Well, we were talking about how corporations, especially YouTube and Google, kind of controlling the news flow and controlling the information. Yeah. How do we balance the ideas in our mind that these leaks are coming and people are becoming more and more informed with this idea that YouTube and Google are kind of controlling the flow? How is that possible that those two kind of coexist?
Well, what happened is I think it probably came out a little unexpectedly and flamed up much bigger than they expected. So as soon as they realized, I mean, can you imagine you've got something as big as the internet and stuff is going all over the place just at lightning speed? How do you control that? How do you get your arms around that and control that? So I think it might have taken them a little bit of time. I know they were already working on AIs, and they definitely rolled those out in a much faster speed once that started happening, to get help to get that under control. And I think they've done a really good job, a really fine job of really suppressing the truth and suppressing that stuff. Because if you look up Pizzagate, probably the first 2 pages on Google, all you're going to see is conspiracy, debunked, Snopes, not true. You won't see any actual. I love
trusting Snopes. They're
I know.
They're my go-to news source.
We've actually been Snoped before, some of our articles.
Congratulations.
I know.
It was quite an honor.
Yeah. But, that was great.
So you bring up a really good point. You know, a psyop within the psyop. Where does the psyop start? Where does it end? Who can you believe?
Right.
You know, I mean, boy, when I look at some of the people that are disseminating good information about Donald Trump and they're getting millions of views, how is that happening? Right. So I do believe YouTube, Google is controlling a lot of things, but there's certain things that they care about, I believe, and there's certain things that they don't care about. And,
much.
Outing high up officials about child sexual abuse is one of those things that they do care about.
Yeah.
You know, outing Hollywood, producers.
Israel is definitely a no-no.
Right?
Yeah.
Talking about Zion is Israel is a no-no. You don't do that. You will get shut down. Okay.
Well, the ADL of all of the executives, 100% of them are Jewish, correct?
I think so.
I believe that we had looked that up and we did a story about that.
But I think it's a big game, though. To be honest with you, a lot of the stuff that you see in mainstream media is just propaganda. Made to invoke or enrage and divide. To be honest with you, divide the country.
Yeah,
and they're doing a good job, right?
Yeah. And it's interesting when you see things get closer and closer to the mainstream media. The people who I guess what I would call conspiracy theorists, or the people who are just trying to find the truth, immediately abandon that idea because, it's talking about the mainstream media, and now all of a sudden it can't be true if they're actually talking about it. That's such a hard thing to wrap your head around. And you even see that with people like yourselves. I don't know if specifically yourselves, people who get a rather large audience because of the work that you're doing. People immediately write people off because they have such a large audience and say, they're probably being paid by the Jews because they're so big. It's how do you combat that mentality? Because we're entering into a conspiratorial led society where people just won't believe anything no matter what it is.
That is a really good point. We did get accused when we started getting a lot of followers. We did have lots of people say that. We didn't know if they were trolls or, controlled opposition. We
started getting called gatekeepers.
Yeah.
And we're like, what is it? I didn't even know what that term meant, gatekeepers.
Right.
And I kind of still don't know what it means, but I don't think it was good, though.
Well, a lot of people call Alex Jones, you call him controlled opposition, but a lot of people call him a gatekeeper, too. I think their mentality is you put out some truth and then you mix in some untruths in there, and it confuses and grays the lines a lot. I think us being taken down probably validated to a lot of people. We've actually been targeted. Jim has been followed around. He's taken pictures and posted them. My office got broken into. They went right through the regional supervisor and my manager's office and came straight to my office and destroyed my office and pulled my computer apart.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was the only one that was touched. So then nothing was taken. We had money in the office and nothing was taken. Just my stuff was disheveled. So I think those things periodically people kind of look at that. We do have to be careful. We kind of have to do sweeps, every once in a while to see if there's listening devices and that kind of thing. I think as those things happen, we're completely transparent and we just kind of tell everything as it's unfolding. And I think that probably lends credibility to us.
Man, to be honest with you, I don't even have a good answer to your question, but I can just tell you that, and I'm not going to get all religious or biblical here, but I have faith in God, and so I just pray about it every day because I don't know what's going on. I don't know who to believe, and I gotta go upstairs on that one.
Yeah.
And that's how I live my life on a daily basis because you're thinking, right? You're a logical thinker, and I like your questioning, and they're good questions, and that's the way I think as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so overwhelming sometimes because you just don't know who to trust, and it's like you try to do your best to find out who to trust, and then someone makes a mistake. Like I know down the road as I continue to do this, I'm gonna make a mistake, and people are gonna think I'm some sort of nut job who's in getting paid or something like that. But it's like people just make mistakes, so you really have to be careful. Is that person, evil, or are they just flawed like everyone is? And that's something that I've really noticed too as you get to know the people who are leading these shows and you actually get to know them on a personal level. A lot of them are just people. They're just trying to do good, and they make mistakes or they say things that might contradict something that they said before, and people immediately jump down their throat and saying that they're controlled opposition or they're evil. It's so hard to walk that line. And so especially when you even get bigger like you guys are, I can't imagine the difficulty that comes across like that.
So the longer you do this, the more mature you get with your reporting, making sure that your reporting is accurate. It used to be all about getting the story out first or sensationalism, and I just don't do that anymore because it ends up hurting people, and that's not what I want to do. I don't want to report something that's potentially false that's going to hurt somebody because you can't take that back.
Well, and it's also become something much different for me in that I definitely want to keep the truth community, the real truth community, the people that, like you said, I know now on a personal level, and I know how much they struggle just to get the truth out. I want to boost them up. I want to bring people to them. I want to see them grow, and we all need to have each other's backs. And so it's not about getting the story out first. It's like if I have a story and I'm in the middle of doing something, I will pass it off to somebody else and say, get this out, it's good, that kind of stuff. And I think that's very important because there's so much division going on right now. It's just so important to learn again. We almost have to relearn, right? To trust one another and to help one another and to be happy for each other instead of all this petty, jealousy and they got that out before I did. Yeah. You can't do this like that.
But I look at things because I have read the Bible and I know some prophecy and I know what the end game is and I know what's going to happen, and deception is one of them. So I always look at things with that light, with that eye, as far as I think I know what's going to happen, and I think I know what the end game is. I think I know what the agenda is here. So I always look at the piece of the puzzle and I say, oh, that fits. Oh, that makes sense that he's doing that because that's how that happens. And so a lot of the things politically right now fit in my mind. Mm-hmm. So I'm not surprised to see this going on, this huge division going on in our country right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I always tried to keep it about the ideas on the show and not about the specific people. Events and people are important, and you can use them to get to the bigger ideas.
Right.
And if you can stay on the level of ideas, then you're not going to really you shouldn't offend people that way. You shouldn't drive people away because you're just talking about ideas. And I had someone on my show. I've had people on my show who are anti-Trump, who are pro-Trump. We just talk about it. We just talk about the different evidence that they found. I think that's so important that's how we're going to get truth out, by just talking about it like this, like we are now.
Right. You know what that's called? That's called debate. We used to have debate classes, and nobody can debate anymore. It's because if you don't agree with what I say, then I don't want to hear it anymore, and they just shut down and go away. It's not like, I mean, we are all about, even in our marriage, I mean, we're all about, oh, really? What do you think about that? Well, I see it differently. I see it like this. And he's like, oh, well, that's interesting. You know, we're very open-minded about and accepting of others and try to not judge. And I think all of those things are just lost arts.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And I was good. No, I forgot what
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I talk too much sometimes.
No, you don't. Well, yeah, you do. No, I was going to say, and we're the kind of people, too, and our show is like, you know, if Trump does something that I don't agree with, I'm going to call him out. I'm sorry. You know, I did that with Obama. You know, I've done that with Bush before we had a show. And I would do that with President Trump. So, you know, but people get so offended because diehard Trump fans. But these are the same people that would get mad at the diehard Obama fans, the Clinton fans.
Yeah.
For you would put in front of their face, look, dude, this is wrong. I don't care, you know. And you know, so it's like, man, if you cannot rail on an Obama supporter that's blind when you're doing the same thing.
Absolutely.
Okay, you just got to be real and call out things if you see them wrong. That's all. That's what we try to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we got about 5 or so minutes left of our conversation. Was there anything that we didn't get to touch on that you find extremely important that you kind of want to express to the audience?
We should talk about the channel.
Yeah, I will. First of all, I want to say that went really fast. So we really enjoyed it.
Signs of a good interviewer when the time flies.
Absolutely.
As I say, it's very comfortable. If you have us on again, we could probably do another hour easy. But yeah, sure. So we have our backup channel on YouTube, which is Victurus Libertas, Jim and Angie, or VLTV. That's how you find us there. But the more important thing is, and I'm trying to move a lot of people over to alternative platforms, is Angie got us hooked up and started with our own Roku channel. Many of you know what Roku is. If you don't, just look it up, ROKU. That's right. And our channel name is VLTV. And I think within in about 5 days, we've got about 1,700 signups or something like that.
Yeah, people are signing up really quickly, so I'm excited about that. I'm about to do a newsletter to everybody that has signed up for newsletters and direct them. And Jim did a short little video showing how to sign up and get it on the channel. So we've got that. We also are newly signed up to Daily Motion, which I really like that platform. It's really good. It also monetizes, and so that helps out a little bit if you go over there and take a look at those and go through an ad or two. And then we're on BitChute, BITCHUTE. We've been there for a couple of years since before it went live, so we're there. And I have a new podcast page set up on our website. The website is www.victuruslibertas.com. And so I upload the newest interviews, and they go directly onto the webpage as well.
Yeah, we're not telling everybody to leave and shun YouTube altogether, because I figure as long as there's funny cats and dogs, there's a reason for YouTube.
Right.
You know, I thought about just changing my channel just to funny cats and dogs, and I'd probably get more subscribers and more viewers, and I'd make more money. So
you might make more money, but people are craving the truth right now. So thank you for what you're doing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If only I can get a dog to talk about the truth, then I'd be golden.
That's actually a golden retriever. That'd be great.
Oh, no. You just made him make
Oh, man. We had such a good interview until that point. Now it went downhill so fast.
Get that part out.
Yeah, so yeah, all kidding aside, if people want to subscribe to us, just do it. You could do a search on Jim and Angie. or VLTV or Victurus Libertas if you really want to go down that road. And you'll find us. But we really appreciate more subscribers and more people over Roku, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's definitely go support them, guys. They you can hear what we talked about today. They just want the truth out. They're willing to do the research, and they have the context, and they're just looking for the truth like we all are. So guys, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having us.
Have a great night.
Yeah, you too. All right, guys, that's the show for this week. Again, it always ends on the topic of unity and being able to support each other, to talk to each other, to debate with each other when you disagree, whether it be about Trump, whether it be about Pizzagate, whether it be about QAnon or FBI-anon or whatever your theory is. If you can't talk about it, then you're probably wrong anyway. So let's talk about it. Let's learn from each other. Everyone you meet knows something that you don't, and that's important to remember. So as we grow together as a community, and as our channel grows, and as the Christian faith grows, it's important to lean on each other and don't trust anyone blindly, but talk to each other and support each other and love each other and pray for each other, because that's what's going to get us through all this. In the confusing world of not knowing who to trust or who to follow, prayer and faith will get us through it in the end, and our faith in Jesus is the one that will lead us to truth, and that's what we want. Guys, I'm not going to ask you to like, subscribe, or share, but I appreciate it if you do. I hope you enjoyed the show, and I hope that you have a great week. Do you guys have a problem with people pronouncing your name or remembering the name of your show?
Victurus Libertas. So it's Victurus Libertas. And you can just call us VL or VLTV.
Yeah, you can say Jim and Angie at VL. People, we're starting to rebrand VLTV since we've got the Roku channel, so that's good too.
Yeah, I chose an obscure name because I didn't think anybody would ever watch us.
Hello.
Okay, well, I was just curious. I thought it.
Oh yeah, we do every once in a while, but it's kind of pronounced the way it looks. Right?
Yeah. If you know Latin, which I don't. When he made the name up, I was like, "What is that supposed to be?"
I don't even think he knows. Victurus Libertas.
That's a lot.
It is a lot.
I was like, victim library is joining us today.
That's right, and that's fine too. That doesn't matter.
I don't know. We might have to correct that one.